Among the many powerful episodes in Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Firebending Master stands out as one of the most pivotal. It's not just an episode about learning a skill or mastering an element. It's a transformative moment for both Zuko and Aang. This episode challenges their personal struggles and reshapes their understanding of fire itself. Today, we're diving deep into why this episode is so important for the characters and the larger narrative. Zuko's journey has always been about identity, redemption, and finding his true path. By the time he reached the episode The Firebending Masters, Zuko has rejected the anger and hatred that once shielded him. But this leaves him at a crossroads. His firebending, once driven by rage, has now weakened. Zuko's loss of firebending isn't just a physical limitation. It symbolizes his fear of being powerless without the darkness upon Kashunten. Zuko understands that to truly help Aang defeat the Fire Lord, he must regain control of his firebending. But this time, it has to come from a place of balance and inner peace. He brings Aang with him on a journey to rediscover the ancient origins of firebending, hoping to find answers from us Sun warriors. For Aang, fire represents something far more dangerous. His first experience with the element ended in a disaster when he accidentally burned Katara. This trauma not only caused Aang to fear firebending, but also highlighted his deeper fears, the fear of his own power. Aang views fire as an uncontrollable force, one that could bring harm to those he loves, which is why he's reluctant to fully embrace it. This episode forces Aang to confront more than just his fear of fire. It pushes him to acknowledge the responsibilities that come with his role as the Avatar. His fear of firebending symbolizes his reluctance to accept the full scope of his power, knowing that as the Avatar, his choices will shape the world. As they enter the Sun Warriors' ruins, we're introduced to a long-lost culture that reversed firebending as a spiritual practice rather than a weapon. The Sun Warriors see fire not as a tool of war, a gift that must be respected and used in balance with the world. This contrast is critical. While the Fire Nation has twisted firebending into an instrument of conquest, the Sun Warriors' approach emphasizes harmony and life. The dragon dance that Aang and Zuko learn is more just a ritual. It's a representation of this balance. The movements aren't aggressive or warlike. They flow like water, symbolizing that fire, like all elements, must exist in harmony with life. It's here that we see the depth of the Sun Warriors' wisdom, and why rediscovering this knowledge is so important for Zuko and Aang. Everything in the episode leads up to this moment, when Zuko and Aang come face to face with the two last living dragons, Ram and Shah. These dragons aren't just ancient creatures, they're the original masters of firebending, the source of all firebending wisdom. The stunning display of color and fire that they reveal to Zuko and Aang is breathtaking, but it also holds a deep symbolic meaning. The vibrant flames swirling around Zuko and Aang don't represent destruction. They represent life, energy, and creation. This is a powerful lesson for both characters. Zuko's firebending has been fueled by rage, but the dragon showing that fire isn't just about strength, it's about balance, warmth, and the power to give. Aang, who had feared fire's destructive potential, begins to understand that when handled with respect, fire can be a force for good. For Zuko, this revelation is profound. He realizes that he doesn't need to rely on anger and hatred to be strong. His firebending can come from inner peace, his passion for life, and his desire to protect others. This marks a critical shift in his personal growth. Zuko can now wield fire with confidence, not out of a desire to destroy, but to preserve and protect. One of the most significant revelations in this episode involves Uncle Iroh. For most of the series, Iroh had been known as the Dragon of the West, with a reputation as the last dragon slayer. According to legend, Iroh earned this title by killing the last dragon and cementing his fearsome reputation in the Fire Nation. But as Zuko explains, the legend isn't true. Iroh did not kill the dragons. Instead, he encountered Ran and Shah, and like Zuko and Aang, he learned from them. This decision to spare the dragons speaks volumes about Iroh's character. At the height of his power, Iroh chose not to destroy, but to protect. He recognized the true meaning of fire and carried that knowledge with him. This revelation adds incredible depth to Iroh's journey. The title, Dragon of the West, isn't a symbol of brutality, but of his wisdom. Iroh's firebending, like the dragon's flames, is rooted in life and balance. His decision to let the dragons live reflects his personal philosophy, one that values peace and understanding over violence and domination. After the loss of his son, Iroh turned away from conquest and sought a deeper understanding of the world. His choice to spare the dragons was a critical turning point in his life, one that shaped his worldview and allowed him to pass on his wisdom to Zuko. Iroh's story is a reminder that true strength comes not from power, but from compassion and wisdom. The dragon dance itself is a perfect reflection of this lesson. It's not a display of aggression, but a celebration of balance. Through this dance, Aang and Zuko learn to treat fire as a force of life, not destruction. For Aang, this marks a turning point in his relationship with firebending. His fear begins to dissipate as he realizes that fire, when wielded responsibly, is as essential as any other element. This new understanding reshapes both Aang and Zuko's approach to firebending. Aang no longer fears its destructive potential, and Zuko now wields it with confidence and balance. Together, they embody the lesson of the dragons, that fire's true purpose is to nurture, protect, and sustain life. The Firebending Masters is more than just a personal turning point for Aang and Zuko. It's a critical moment for the larger narrative of Avatar: The Last Airbender. For so long, fire has been associated with the Fire Nation's conquest and aggression, but this episode reframes fire as a source of energy and life. It challenges the viewer's perception of the Fire Nation and highlights how the true meaning of firebending has been lost over generations of war. This episode also retroactively enhances Iroh's wisdom throughout the series. His calm, measured approach to firebending, his teachings to Zuko, and his refusal to engage in needless violence all stem from the lessons he learned from the dragons. His firebending has always been about more than just power. It's been about maintaining balance and honoring life. In the end, the Firebending Masters is about more than just mastering firebending. It's a profound moment of growth for both Zuko and Aang, as they learn that true power comes not from anger or fear, but from a deep connection to itself. Zuko's redemption arc takes a significant leap forward, as he discovers a new way to channel his firebending, while Aang overcomes his fear and embraces the full potential of the element. This episode also reveals the true legacy of Uncle Iroh. His wisdom and compassion, rooted in the lessons of the dragons, have shaped the path for Zuko and Aang. Through these revelations, the episode offers us a deeper understanding of the balance between power and peace.